Great. So I just finished a whole Drake album from doing my makeup while doing my makeup. That's how long I've been doing my makeup. Jesus. Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I'm Emon, by the way. Welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to do this eye look with this palette right here. So this palette is the Nude Eyeshadow Palette by the Balm. It's pretty old. It's not new. I just figured that I'd film this look because I filmed it once and I posted it on my Instagram, and then I went to go edit and the footage just didn't work. Why? I don't know. But it didn't work, so I put a poll up and I was like, okay guys, do you want to see me refilm it? Do you care? And I got 100% said yes, that you wanted me to refilm it. So I did. There's just a little variation. It looks pretty much the same, but there is variations to some of the colors. So for the lid color, I put Flirty on my lid color for the center of it instead of Firm like I did the first picture. And then to put into my buff into my crease, I put the color Flawless instead of Feisty. So this is Feisty and then this is Flawless. So that's what I did. Opposite wise, I still put Feisty in my eye. It's just deeper inside of my crease area instead of buffed out more on the outer side of it. So besides that, that's pretty much what I did. A little review over the palette itself. I'll put a link. I'll put the timestamp when I actually start the makeup video or the actual tutorial, like right here. But little review of the palette itself. It's okay. I personally, I think it could be better. This is old, so they probably have done a whole new formula, a whole new everything shebang on this palette, but the one that I have, it's just like it's an I give it, if it was on a scale of like 1 to 10 for a palette, I'd say it's like a 7, maybe a 6.5, because the colors are great. They've got some transition shades, they have a lot of shimmers. Majority of the palette is shimmers, so I think they have like 3 transition colors, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shimmers. So that's a little more than like what I would want in a palette, because it's just like I'm not going to constantly use shimmers. I'm usually going to put a bunch of matte colors and then add a shimmer at the end. But I used the color Fine in this palette on the outer V of my eye, and it could very well be matte because the shimmer isn't that big, like that abundant, I guess, inside of it. So it's not that much. There's a lot of fallout in it, and for something to have a lot of fallout and not be as pigmented, it's kind of pointless. It's like I'm wasting product, and it's also not transferring well on my eyes, so it's like, what's the point? So that was kind of a downer of the palette. It's buildable, but like it's too buildable. Like, it takes too long to build on my eyes. That is in my opinion. I'm just saying. So yeah, I don't know. I give it, like I said, I give it a 6.5 on the palette. Pretty colors, creativity wise, it's really cute. I love that about it. So, and it has a big mirror, so that's definitely worth the palette itself. So would I recommend go out and buy this? No, because of the fact that a lot of these colors, I have them in other palettes. I have majority of these palettes in the Tartelette palette, the very first one, and like, I mean, they're all matte. They don't have some of the shimmers that are in here, but the majority of the colors that are purplish and things, I could have got that from that palette, you know. And then like the yellow shade in here, it's like it's a little too yellow, maybe has a little bit more shimmer. I used it on the outer part of my eyebrow, where the brow bone. So yeah, it's an okay palette. Will I use it again? Maybe. But is it the first thing I'm gonna grab when I put my makeup on? No, like by no means. So yes, if you want to see how I got this eye look, and this, actually I did both skin, foundation, and I did eyes. So look at me, I'm on a roll here. My hair is super dry. I take it out of the ponytail in the video, so that's why it looks so dry. But yes, like I said, if you want to see how I got this eye look and the skin, then just keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to start by priming my eyelids. So to prime them, I use the Too Faced eyeshadow primer, the 24-hour eyeshadow primer. And then I'm going to set the eyeshadow primer base with this Makeup Forever, I think it's that Ultra HD powder. I just know that it's very fine, and I wanted to use it instead of like an actual eyeshadow, just so that when I apply the eyeshadows, there's not already so much other product on there. You know, and I wouldn't want any cake on the eyelids because that's already too much. So I used that. I put that all over the lid with a small, it was kind of like a tapered brush that I had gotten from my mom. Shout out to Mom. So now we get to the palette, the Nude palette by the Balm, Nude Volume 2, I believe that's what it was. I'm not really completely sure. But excited to get into this palette. I'm going to go start off and just put some color in the crease since I had already set my eyelids with that 24-hour, why do I keep calling it 24-hour? It's the Ultra HD powder, Makeup Forever. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to buff the shade Flawless into my crease, and I'm going to buff it onto the outer part of my lid and a little bit on the inner part, but mainly focusing it on the outer part of my crease. Now, if you don't have that many brushes, then I would just say stick to what I said previously, but since I have other brushes and the inner part of my eye is a little harder to get some product in there, sometimes it irritates my eye, I took a smaller brush that I have in my collection, the same one that I used to put on the Makeup Forever powder. I used that and I just put that in the inner part of my eye above my crease, well, as much as I can get above my crease, just so I can make sure that I have that even color distribution in my eye. Okay, so yeah, now I'm done with that color. I finished up with Flawless, and I'm going to go in with Feisty in the palette. I'm going to take this Morphe brush that I have, and I'm going to buff that into the lower part of my eyelid, or of my crease, right below that Flawless color. And this took a little bit of time because the colors are somewhat similar, even though Feisty has more of a mauve pink color to it. Still trying to make sure that it becomes like you can actually see it in the crease. It takes a little bit of time to buff it in here. So don't feel like I just did it really quickly. You know, it takes time to actually get the color to show up in the crease. Just making sure that you focus it on the outer part of your eye and that you build the product up. And of course, like I said in the beginning, the palette it's really not that pigmented. Obviously, I'm over here excited about it, but it's not that pigmented, so you really have to force it into your eye in order to actually have that color payoff, you know. Why do I look so sad? Oh my gosh. Well, okay, I guess it's because I'm going into the shade Fine in the palette, and this is like the chocolatey shimmer shade that's in there, but it's kind of a matte shade, honestly, when you put it onto your brush and then onto your lid. So I take that same little small brush that I used for the center of my eye, and I'm using it on the lower part of my eyelid, so near the lash line and the outer V, but not bringing it into that V, like not making it look like a V, if that makes sense. More so just focusing it on the lash line. And then I go in and I put it in the center of my eye also to have that sort of halo effect, because that's like my jam. That's usually what I do when I put my makeup on. It's my most comfortable makeup style, but I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, y'all. I really am. And to get even closer to my lash line, I went and took the little brush that came with the palette, and I took the angled side and just dipped that into Fine also, and I just only did it in the inner corner of my eye, just so I can make sure that it was the same shades on both the inside and the outside of my eye. Okay, so now I'm done with Fine. I'm going to go in with the shade Flirty in the middle of my eye to continue that halo eye that I'm going to have going on. This shade was semi-pigmented. It was okay, you know, I didn't mind it. I had to put it on a few times, buff it out again with a clean brush, the same brush I actually used with Fine, so I had that good transition. And then I had to put it over again, and so on and so forth. And then at the end, you know, I sprayed with Fix Plus to make it pop even more. But could I have had more shine, more color payoff with it? Yes, I could have. But like I said, the palette was a decent palette. It was a 6.5 in my opinion. So for what I got, you know, it's what I got. And then to semi-finish up the eye before I go on to the face, I went and took the shade Fabulous in the palette to highlight my brow bone, making sure to, you know, keep it at the base of the tail, and then I went with a fluffy brush and kind of just buffed it out so that everything just seemed seamless and there wasn't no harsh lines. So now we're onto the face. I did my eyebrows off camera and we're gonna prime. So I primed my face with the Smashbox Photo Focus Primer. Photo Focus Primer? No, it's a primer and it's pore filling and it's mattifying and it's really good. And I highly recommend it for the foundation that I'm gonna use next. And the foundation that I used with this look was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Stick Foundation in the shade Amber. Y'all know this is my jam. I use it in all my videos. I use it for pretty much everything. It's multitasking. And yeah, so it makes, with this primer, the foundation glides on so smoothly. It doesn't feel like it's tugging on your face when you put it on, which I feel like it does with a lot of other primers that I use. But with this primer, it's the jam and does it very well. Clearly I'm excited about how smooth my pores look in the camera. So now I go take that foundation stick like I told y'all and just swipe it all over my face. I'd say be generous with it, but honestly, if you use the stippling brush like I use in this video, you can add as much product as you really want and it will evenly distribute it because it's a cream, but it's still such a lightweight cream. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin in my opinion. So yeah, I just swipe this all over my skin. I put it all over my blemishes. I didn't even have to color correct. That's how much I like this concealer stick. And it's so full coverage. So obviously I'm going ham on my nose. But then I take it on my forehead, looking like a Wi-Fi symbol. And then I take it a little bit on the bottom of my neck. And then I'm going to go in and just blend it with my stippling brush. Don't look at my little pimple cover. I had a pimple and I busted it accidentally. And so I had to cover it with a pimple band-aid. Don't mind it. Okay, so once that's all buffed out, I'm going to go ahead and contour. I'm going to take this e.l.f. Chubby Concealer / contour stick that I got, and I'm going to put it on the high points of my cheeks, my forehead, so that it looks like I have some dimension in my face. I don't normally contour my nose, but I went on my nose a little bit, and then the under parts of my chin. Yeah, once I put the under part of my chin down, then I go and I'm just going to buff it out with this. It's a more dense brush than the stippling brush. And, oh, I forgot I did that too. Oh, look at that. And I take the more dense brush and I kind of just push that into the skin, more on the cheek part and the forehead, so that I don't completely like make the concealing or the contouring go away, you know what I'm saying? Because you want to use a brush that's going to keep the product there. You don't want something that's going to take the product away. You know, with the stippling brush, it'll loosen the product so that it evenly distributes over the skin, whereas with this brush and with the contour shade, you want it to be like the most deep in those places that you want to contour. Alright, so yeah, once that's all buffed out, I'm going to take this concealer shade, I'm going to highlight. I use 3 concealers, to be completely honest. So I use a mixture of both the Sephora Gel Serum Concealer and the Photo Focus Concealer from Wet n Wild. The Sephora and the Wet n Wild one, they're basically the same shade. They're like my skin tone shade, and then the second Photo Focus one that I have from Wet n Wild is a lighter shade. So that's medium tawny that I use. So but at the moment, I go over first with my skin tone highlight shade. I put that under my eyes, in the middle of my forehead, down the rim of my nose, my chin, and on the cupid's bow of my face, obviously. And then I go in, like I said, with the lighter shade on top of it. and I blend that out. And usually I use a wet sponge, but today when I filmed this video, I decided I'm going to go in with a dense foundation brush that's tapered. It kind of looks, it's pretty small. It's not very big like, say, a buffing brush. And I just dabbed it right in the center of my eyes, you know, more towards the middle. I keep it more packed in, and then I spread it out evenly on the outer parts of my eye. And I just did that for all the parts that I highlighted. So all of my products, all my cream products, my wet products are on my face at the moment. So I'm going to go in and take a dry sponge. You think it's a wet one, but it's actually a dry sponge. And I'm going to set my under eyes, my forehead, pretty much everywhere I lay down 2 or more layers of foundation or concealer, just so that I don't crease. Making sure that when you go in and you set your face, before you do that, you buff out any lines that you know have the tendency to like crease or makeup tends to get stuck in there. Make sure you go out and blend it out with your finger or with a wet sponge or a brush. Just making sure you do that before you put the powder down. Otherwise, you're going to look cracky or wrinkly, or things are going to start looking kind of gross. And because I don't like to put yellow powder completely like all over my face, I like to put a more translucent, a more translucent shade from the Makeup Forever line, obviously, all over the rest of my face where I had set products, just so that I'm not tacky and that everything is set. Yeah, so once everything is set down, you don't want to bake for too long because sometimes that yellow powder can leave a cast depending on which product you have, which company you have. And so I just dust that all off after I've baked for a decent amount of time. And I do that with a fluffy brush. Obviously right here I was very shocked. Actually I was, because something sticked and I didn't know why it was sticking. So I was very confused. But regardless, I got it all dusted off. And once you're all dusted off, we'll go on to the next step. So now we're on to the eyes again. We're going to go ahead and do our lower lash line so that everything transitions right. It doesn't look like you have all this heaviness on your lids and nothing on the lower part. Everything corrects, everything connects, and everything is good. So I'm going to take that, I think it's Feisty shade. These shades are so like hard to remember. Flirty. I took Flirty and I put it on the lower lash line of my eye. And then I also took the shade Fine and I put that on the outermost part of my eye. I didn't want to bring it into the inside too much because I didn't want it to be completely this like crazy dark smoky look. I wanted to keep it still very feminine, you know, but you know, with a little bit of edge. So we're pretty much done with the eyes. I'm going to go on back to the face. We're just jumping everywhere. And I'm going to go in with this. It's one of the trio palettes that I got from the Too Faced holiday lines that they had. I don't remember which one it was. But it's this beautiful peachy blush shade. And I was like, okay, let's put a little color that's besides mauvies onto my face. Honestly, I don't ever be having like a system to which blushes I be using like these other YouTubers be. I just take a color that I think will look cute on my skin and I just add it. So this is the color I chose. So yeah, once I finished with the cheeks, I went on and I'm gonna go highlight, girl. And I took the Betty Luminizer. I had like a little sample. My mom got a sample and I took it. But I got a sample and I used it to highlight. I took 2 actually highlights. So I took this one and then a Makeup Revolution highlighter. because the Betty Luminizer is just a tad deeper than my own skin, it makes me look, it kind of gives me a cast when I put too much on. So I put this one down first, and then I take the Makeup Revolution, which is a little bit lighter, and I just put that on top, kind of like a highlight topper. And to intensify that highlight and to basically put everything in place, make sure it doesn't look too chalky or pasty, then I go take my Smart Water, I think it's Smashbox Smart Water, basically primer, setting spray, and I just set it all over my face. And I like the mist on it. It's not as good as, like, you know, the Morphe setting spray that I love, but it does the job. And then to actually be finished with my eyes, like completely finished, I'm going to go in and take the Balm mascara. I forgot what this is called. The Balm mascara, and I'm going to put that on the outer parts of my eyelashes where I like them the most. I tend to not put it towards the center because then they get super clumpy. So I just tend to put it always on the outer parts where the flare is the most. And then I put them on the lower part of my lash line as well to give me that girly doll look. And then to be finally finished with the look, I went and I took the Amore Matte Lip Creams from Milani in the shade Stunning, and I put it all over my lip. It's the only color I had on my lip. I think I mixed in the center of my lip one of the Tarte colors, but I don't know where I put that. But basically you can't even tell that I put it on, but yes, this is the color I used. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And if you have any questions or comments down below on how I did a certain blending or shading or what brushes I used, just put it down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to start doing post notifications hopefully here soon. All you have to do is just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and then once you're done, put done down in the comments below, and I'll shout you out on my channel, because as a growing YouTuber, I would like to be shouted out and my channel to be exposed, to be seen across the world. So, like I said, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!